In today's video, we're going to be installing a premium cluster on this Ram 1500 pickup truck. So let's jump straight into it. So right here, we've got our 1500 Ram pickup truck that we've been upgrading. So this was a Tradesman Express, or I guess it still is, but we've been steadily upgrading everything. So if you guys are new to the channel, we went ahead and upgraded the dash to a premium leather stitch model. It used to be the plastic one. We also upgraded the interior. We put the 8.4 U-Connect. This was just standard bare bones inside, you guys. We're also putting the center console, so I'm just waiting on our center bezel and our center console to show up. And you can also see that I picked up a glove box, so we're gonna be putting a glove box in here. And right now I am about to put in a premium cluster. So the cluster that's in it right now is just your standard small one that you can see there. So I'm gonna show you guys how to swap it out, what programming changes we need to do, and we'll get right into it. So for starters, you guys can technically just plug this in and it will work. But your mileage is gonna be off, the engine hours, the driving hours, and total hours are all gonna be from whatever vehicle that it was pulled from. That's all gonna be still stored in the cluster. So if you want that stuff to match your vehicle, which I'm sure you do, you need something like this. So what I've got here is our Obd-Link Mx Plus. So this is our OBD port. So this plugs in, it USB connects to your tablet, Android device, or you can use a PC, and we have Alpha OBD installed on this tablet here. So with these two here, we can make the programming changes. So let's go over to the truck. It's pretty simple to swap over. There's really only 4 screws that hold this thing in place, and then on the back you just have one connector. So we'll go ahead, we'll look at our, like I said, odometer reading, our engine hours, our driving hours, and our total hours. We'll record all that stuff, and then we're gonna remove our old cluster. So I'll show you guys that step, and we'll get to swapping it. All right, so here we are inside the vehicle. So you're gonna use your buttons on your steering wheel, and you're gonna go over to vehicle info. Then we're gonna hit enter, and we're gonna scroll down until we see our engine hours. So you can see our idle 299, our drive is 1610, and then our total is going to be the 2 added up. So it doesn't show total on this cluster, but premium cluster does. And then we'll note our miles, so 49,288 on this vehicle. So definitely want to transfer that over, because I'm sure whatever cluster that we end up putting in here probably is going to be more than that at this point. So that's our stats right there. So again, record that stuff. Just use your little buttons here, write that down. Now we can get into removing this cluster. All right, so to remove the cluster, I actually have this bezel loose because when we converted to the leather stitch dash, this trim piece is actually different. So I'm just waiting for that to arrive. But what you're gonna see is there's just speed clips that hold this in. I'll show you guys in just a second. And there's 4 screws, so 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So take out those 4 screws and then pop out this trim piece. And as you can see here, 4 screws, and then just the speed clips that are holding on the back. So once you expose those, that little bezel is actually holding the top of this in, and then underneath you've got your 2 little screws here, so 1 and 2. Remove those, and then this cluster is free. So once you remove those 2 screws, you can manipulate this so that you can turn it and access the plug on the back. We're gonna squeeze the plug, pop out the connector, and we can turn this again, exit it out the side like that. As for the new cluster, we're gonna slide it in. We'll rotate it this way for a minute so that we can get to the connector. Plug it in, rotate it back, and then we'll put in our 2 screws on the bottom. All right, so new cluster is installed. We go ahead and put in our bezel. But like I said, I'm still waiting for the other bezel to show up, but it's really as simple as just clicking it in and then putting your 4 screws in the top. So one trick is just to make sure that you tilt your steering wheel all the way down, so it gives you the most room up here to deal with. Now let's get into the programming. Like I said, if we turn this on, haven't done anything yet, it will be functional. But you can see here 105,000 miles, 256. So obviously we're gonna have to change that. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna plug into the OBD2 port down here. That's plugged in. We'll throw our key in, turn it to the run position, and we'll hop over here to our tablet and get into the programming. All right, so here we go. So once you get into the Alpha OBD program, You're gonna go over, select your vehicle. So you can see we've got Ram 1500 here. Obviously, if you're doing this on 2500, just pick the appropriate one, but it's gonna be similar steps. So we're gonna go over to instrument panel, select control unit. You're gonna select your year, make, model. So we're gonna go 2013 plus, and then we're gonna hit connect, and we'll wait for this to be connected. Okay, so once it says it's connected to instrument panel cluster, you're gonna go down to the bottom here with this little car with its hood popped up. You're gonna click on that. Then you're gonna click on select procedure to start, and you're gonna see all this stuff here. So first things first, let's correct the odometer. I'm sure that's the most important part for most of us here. So we're gonna go odometer correction, and we're gonna say it's the premium 7-inch cluster, and then we're gonna enter the mileage. So we'll enter our appropriate mileage. So of course, helpful to take a picture like I did. So 49,288. So we'll type that in. We're gonna hit start. Turn the key off for 30 seconds. And then turn the key off, wait for the startup checks to complete, and click OK. So I'm sure you guys can figure that out. Let's go over to the vehicle. So we're gonna turn the key to off. I'll even take this out, we'll wait for 30 seconds. So once your 30 seconds is up, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna turn to on, and we're gonna wait for the whole boot sequence to finish. So once it's done doing all its little animations and dinging and all that stuff, then we're gonna go back and click OK. All right, so it's done booting up. So we're gonna go back over here. We're gonna hit OK. So over here it's saying started, please wait. And the dash is doing a boot sequence right here. So you'll see the dash flickering, which I just did. Procedure completed, turn the key to off and let the car sleep for several minutes. So let's do that. All right, so even going over here, 49,000. So you can see it took our programming change. So it says to let it sleep for a few minutes, but even though the mileage has already corrected itself. All right, so it's been a few minutes, so let's go ahead, put the key back in. We'll turn this to run. Of course, I already showed you that the mileage has corrected itself, so we'll let this thing redo itself. Obviously, I have the seats and stuff out, so it's kind of freaking out that the airbags aren't connected since there's airbags in these seats, but we're gonna be putting Hellcat seats in it pretty soon since our other seats are on the ground over there. Anyways, we're gonna go back over here. All right, so we might have to reconnect, but once you do that, same thing, go down to where the hood's popped. You're gonna be connected to your instrument cluster, and then we're gonna go down to program customer features. If I'm going too fast, just rewind the video, you guys, and that way we can get through this. So let's go ahead, lifetime idle hours. Let's do that one first. So enter time in hours, it says H. So we're gonna go ahead, click here. We're gonna refer back to our picture. So 299 idle hours. We're gonna hit start. Option is currently set as 0. We're gonna say next. Procedure completed. And then we're gonna go lifetime engine hours. So we'll do 1610. We're gonna hit start, currently set as 43. We're gonna hit next, start. So we're gonna select VIN right. If you guys have bought this used and you haven't paid somebody else to already write the VIN in it, you're gonna want to do this. So premium cluster, 7-inch, you can see there's 3.5 for the 7. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna type in our VIN here, and then we're gonna hit start. So once you enter your VIN, it's gonna say turn key off for 30 seconds and go through that whole procedure. So just follow the instructions on the screen. Okay, then it's gonna come up and say procedure completed, turn the key to off and let the car sleep several minutes. So we'll follow that instruction. All right guys, so I've read about this and it is unfortunately occurring on my vehicle where I cannot seem to get the engine idle hours and engine hours to write. So what I ended up doing though is I tried a bunch of different ways. I also tried on the PC, which I have the PC version of this, which I heard other guys had success with, but it still would not write the engine hours. So what I ended up doing for now, at least so I can keep track of it until I can successfully, write this, or if there's an update that comes to Alpha OBD, or I figure out maybe something else. What I did was I clicked on, there's a couple things I could do. So I reset the VIN values, and then I also clicked on Initialize cluster configuration without odometer effect. So I ran those two procedures, which you can see here, and it gives you a warning sign, only do this because it's going to wipe everything out. And what it actually did was it zeroed out my engine hours. So now my total engine hours are 0. I'll show you guys in just a second on the actual cluster. So that means I've got a reference point from my old cluster and then whatever it starts clocking now. And then hopefully I can write and add the two numbers to later, but we're going to be Hellcat swapping this engine. So it's kind of irrelevant for this application since this engine is going to be coming out of this truck anyways, but that's one way that we can keep track. So if you're running in the same issue, you can wipe it out and zero it out, and then hopefully later on we'll be able to resolve this. But comment down below if you guys ran into this issue. I saw a bunch of these similar issues when I looked on the forums, but let me show you that I zeroed it out and I'll wrap up this video. All right, so here we are here. You can see our idle hours are 0 and drive is 0. I also have to look into this. Like I said, I'm just sharing my experience with you guys and kind of learning along with you. So we've got the odometer correct, but I don't see total. So I have seen other people's premium clusters where it has a third line here where it shows the total hours. I don't see that on this one. I don't know if it's maybe just a model difference, but I only have the 2 there. So anyways, they're both zeroed out. So now it'll start counting from 0 obviously, and like I said, you can do the math to see where you end up if you're just changing the cluster. But like I said, we've got a Hellcat engine going in soon, so I'm not too worried about the hours on this 5.7 that it's coming out. Alright guys, so that's going to be a wrap for the video. So I will link everything that I use down in the description below and hopefully pin it in the top comments. So I'll show you guys where you can pick up Alpha OBD. It's an app that you can run on either Android or Windows. And then you'll need that OBD attachment, the MX Plus as well, so that you can connect to everything, as well as the cluster, which you can find used or whatnot. But I'll link everything down below for you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more helpful videos. We're gonna be doing a lot more. We've been upgrading a lot of stuff on this truck, and we've got a lot more to go. So stick around if you're interested in this type of content. We'll catch you guys on the next video.